Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Hey guys, welcome to Not Too Average Tabletop. I'm Mac,
And I'm Zach.
and today we thought we'd do a fun little video about our favorite games to play together / games we like at two players in honor of Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we kind of put our lists together. We kind of came up with our own games separate, and then we kind of saw which ones intertwined, and then we had to re-vote on a few, and then once we had 10, then we voted on those to get our top 10.
Yeah, if you guys have watched our channel for a while or seen any videos with me and Zach, you probably have noticed that we have very different tastes in games. So being married and each other's sole pretty much board game companion most days of the week, it often makes choosing games a little bit not difficult, but we have some discussions about what to play.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I normally win.
There were definitely some games on my original list that I thought would maybe make her list, but they did not.
But like I said, it's not just games we like to play together, it's also games we feel play really good at two players. So let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Our 10 game is Space Base.
Yeah, and with this one, I think it's ranked a little lower for me. We do really like playing it together, but I suppose ranked a little lower on this list anyway, just because I guess I personally like it better at like 4
Yeah,
players.
I think, so this game is fun at two players, I think, for me, because I win. And, but at the same time, I totally agree with you. It's a lot better at more players because there are more people rolling the dice, so you get a lot more in between your turns, I feel like.
But I suppose since it's basically just a dice rolling game, it can be funner too to just play it at 2 players because you'll get to roll your dice way more often.
Yeah.
So you just have to kind of play it a little differently because in a game with more players you have to probably flip over more cards just so that you're getting more bonuses, since it'll be 3 times in between when you roll, whereas in a 2-player game you kind of can maybe take a little bit of a different strategy since you're going to be rolling more often.
It's definitely more of a race in two players. So you're definitely just watching their rocket track and you're just going back and forth. So I like that one because you get to compete, but you're not really affecting each other's board. So I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Our number 9
is Lost Cities. This game, I don't think you liked it very much at all right away.
The first time I played it, the scoring on this game throws me. I still cannot score this game. I'm like, Zach, just tell me what I have. But this one is 2 players only. It's got one variant where you have like an extra suit of
color
card.
or
Yeah.
export or what is it, expedition that you can go on. So you can add that in there if you want to kind of, I don't know if it opens it up a little bit more, or if it just gets you to try to go for broke a little more. But yeah, I think it's a really enjoyable game, especially as a 2-player game. It's one that's really fun to play if you want something quick, because you can either play it one time. Otherwise, like it suggests, or I think like the actual game is played, is you play 3 total games of it and then add up your total scores to see who ends up getting the highest score at the end.
Yep, exactly. And it is fun. It tends to have like a lot of back and forth between us two because like he'll have a card I want, or I have a card. So it's kind of just a fun game because again you're playing against each other, but you're really not hurting each other too much. You kind of focused on your own board, and just those side pieces are bonus. So yeah, super fun. Our number 8 is Cartographers.
Yes, this was one that I had on my list when we first put our list together, and I was pretty surprised, I guess, that she did not have it on her list, because I thought it was kind of one of her favorite games to play, and it kind of plays well at whatever player count, since it's a game that could honestly be played with 100. You could play it with an infinite amount of people, but
yeah,
then it's like scores would just be so close. Once you got to so many people, they'd just all be
right. And the amount of players in this game doesn't really impact the scoring at all. So it's really good to play at any point. I do like to play it. I think just over the last year we've played it so much because it is one of my favorite games that I kind of like to reserve it for like a bigger group now, just because then you have someone on either side of you who is going to draw in the purple ones.
Mhm.
Instead of just
Monster
one person.
attacks,
Yeah, the monster attacks instead of just one person. So that one can be, that I feel like can be a little difficult for me to, like, one-on-one, is because Zach is so much better at identifying the space in which will hurt me the most with the monster attacks
Mhm.
than I am with him, but it's still, like, it absolutely is one of my favorite games to play together and stuff. I just think it's better at a higher player count, but really great at 2-player too.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Number 7, we've got It's a Wonderful World,
Yes.
which is another game. There's a few of these games on here I think that can play just as good or better at higher player counts.
Mm-hmm.
You'll end up seeing more cards in this game at a higher player count, but I think it's still a really, really fast and enjoyable. You still get the same overall experience from it.
Yeah.
You're just maybe less likely to maybe get cards that you're hoping to get.
But you're more likely to win the face-off in
That's
between
true.
the two different resource types. So.
Yeah, so you'll get more of those. So if you get one of those cards with a bonus for that, it's maybe more of a strategy to take to try to get all of the blues or red tokens.
Yeah, and this is a great one because, it, like Zach says, it plays great at 2-player. Obviously, it's on our list, but it's also one that plays good at a higher player count too. It's also very quick, and I wouldn't say it's like a heavy game, but if you're itching for some more strategy and you don't want to pull out like Psy or something, not that these are like remotely the same, I'm just saying like level-wise, like it's something you can kind of scratch 2 itches with. It being more kind of advanced, but at the same time not like crazy hard.
Yeah, it's definitely
or long.
Easy enough to get into and play and understand what you're doing, but at the same time, if you really know what you're doing, you can really chain things together and make it work for you, and it's really satisfying.
When you
complete a gray card or whatever to produce black, and then use those black cubes to complete another card to use later on in that.
We're gonna have to redo this list in a couple of years because Zach is like king at machine building or whatever.
Engine building.
Yeah, engine building, and so I just end up losing these often. So we'll see if it stays around.
Right.
Okay, so next is
number 6,
and that is Tapestry, which I felt like is. I wasn't surprised to put it on my list. I was kind of surprised to see it on your list. But when you think about it, for us, it really makes a lot of sense. Which you wouldn't really think Tapestry would, but it does.
Yeah, well, spoiler, it's like one of my favorite games. I don't know if it's one of your favorites, but it's still, I don't know, it still has, it seems like a decent amount of strategy to it, and it's a little bit, I think it's probably towards the top of my list because I feel like it scratches the right itch for me, and it's one that you're also willing to play a majority of the time.
Yeah, and that makes me sound like I don't enjoy this hobby. I do, it's just Tapestry is like a 2 or 3 hour game, depending on the night, and we don't always have that much time, nor do I have that much energy. But I
don't think it goes that long for us in 2-player.
Okay, yeah, not in 2-player. Most of the time, unless you're on a roll where you just keep going. And at that point, I just leave the table and call it a night. But
wow.
You know it's true. But yeah, no, I like this game, and I actually prefer it at 2-player than 4-player. 3-player is okay. I don't know. I'm one of those board gamers that is focused on my goal, and the less people there to mess with my goal, the better. You know, on this board, you got your space. You're working. There's only so many tracks you can go up, so it's like, if you're going to be on the same track as each other, like, and you just got to figure it out, but you're likely...
Especially in a 2-player game.
Yeah, but you likely aren't, because people are, you get one turn behind or something, and you're not going to really be able to make it up, and so I like it at 2-player, and I just really like playing this game with you, I think, is the thing, and... There's the, like, sappy Valentine's piece of this, but it's like, yeah, it's probably... I like playing Tapestry best with Zach. So.
Number 5, we've got King Domino.
Hey!
Which is probably one of the oldest games on this list that we've had, or played. maybe not the oldest, but one of the oldest, and it's just one of
Probably
those
is.
that we get, I don't know, I feel like we get back to a decent amount. Not nearly as much as we once originally played it, but I think when we do play it, I still really enjoy it. And at the 2-player, you get to make, or we typically choose to do the 7x7 versus a 5x5, which kind of opens
Use
things
all
up.
the dominoes.
Use all in the domino. So it's actually probably my favorite way to play it, is
too.
the 7x7 2-player.
Yeah, I like it best at 2-player.
Mhm.
And you get 2 kings, so you're like figuring out which dominoes. Oh, it's great. I hate when you only get like one. It's just not fun.
Well, I think that kind of feels in a way like 5 tribes, now that you say it. And that's probably why I enjoy that part of it as well, the 2 kings, like, deciding which ones are the best to take, because then your next turn, you know, if you have the last 2, then the other player's going to get to go twice before you get to go in the next, or choose the next 2 tiles before you get to choose one, which could be, I mean, depending on what comes out, really good or really bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a really soft game, but at the same time, it's something that kind of, in my opinion, works your brain a little bit. I mean, it's not as, tough as other things, but it's still something you have to think about, like Zach said, because you're planning moves in advance, and so it's one we like to introduce to people. We have a couple friends that play it. My sister plays it with her roommates, so it's a really good 2-person game, and if you have a couple more people, hey, it works out for that too. So. And it's cute beyond measure.
It is very nice artwork.
Next is Explorers.
Number 4.
Number 4.
The Explorers of the North Sea.
Zach doesn't like this game very much, so I'm surprised it's higher up on our.
I do like it. It's probably one of the only. Not the only. It's one of very few pick up and deliver games we have.
Yeah.
So I do like that about it, because I do like the pick up and deliver aspect. But yeah, it might not. I don't think it's so much that I don't like it. It's that I like the other games in the Garfield series more.
Boy, does he. Exactly. And Explorers is my favorite in that full troop. Like, Zach wants to
I
go
do
to
still like
Paladins, and I want to go to Explorers. Like, that's how far apart we are sometimes on these games. But, yeah, I love Explorers, and I love it at 2-player because I can just go around and do what I want, and Zach will be on his side of the board, I'll be on my side of the board, and we can all just compete to do our best on our own. When you throw more players in there, then it really is like Vikings raiding, like an open sea, because you are just fighting tooth and nail to get some of this stuff together, and so that's, yeah, but I love it at 2-player. And I like playing it with Zach, too, because it's just fun.
I think, like you said about Tapestry, this is probably. I just really enjoy playing it with you, because I think it's one of your favorite games.
It is, and he got me the expansion for Christmas, and it has like the best like purple pieces, and I love it. No one can have purple ever when I'm playing. Okay, I'm gonna make that a rule.
That's a rule.
Okay, you're gonna enforce it.
No.
Thanks, babe.
I think Jesse's gonna take purple every now and then. He's gonna want to.
I am your wife.
Well, I'm not gonna get in between.
Spoken like a true man.
Wow.
Here.
Number 3, we've got Jaipur.
Love it.
Mhm.
I think we said in the full video sessions with Jaipur, we found this one at our local board gaming store, and from the first play, I think we liked it a lot, and it continues to be like a strong staple that we like to pull out when we're looking for a 2-player game that, just kind of fits.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to Lost Cities, where you play 3 rounds of it and see who ends up getting, well, possibly 3 rounds of it, if not only 2.
It's normally only 2 in our house.
Who gets the tokens for the Maharaja's best trader or whatever it is. But yeah, it's another one of the quick. I think that's one of the things we seem to like about some of these 2-player games, is just how quick they can be, and that they just play really, really cleanly and well at 2 players especially.
Yeah, and I feel like they can recenter. I mean, we were competing still in these, but like we oftentimes will get not bogged down, but we'll play the same games. And these end up being the same games, but we kind of only go to them every so often if we haven't played them in quite a while, and I feel like they're a good, like, kind of a refresh game because it's just one-on-one, that's all there is. Our number 2 is Ticket to Ride London. So this kind of just has like a nostalgia for personal reasons for us, so it kind of holds a special place for us when we visit this game, but it's also the small version of Ticket to Ride Europe.
Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride, and Europe is the only one that we've played otherwise.
Yeah, it's like a 15 to 20 minute version of that, which is just perfect if you just want a taste of Ticket to Ride, but you don't have the 45 minutes plus to take out either, you know, the original version or Europe or possibly some of the other ones out there. It's just the way it works is really similar to the other Ticket to Ride games, and it's just a really enjoyable thing. I guess Ticket to Ride Europe was one of the first games we both played when we were first getting into the hobby, and I know I really enjoyed it. I don't know where it stood for you compared to like Catan or Carcassonne.
I liked it better than Catan.
But yeah, like you said too, with it being London, I think, versus New York, which I think the two are kind of compared. Well, I guess New York would kind of have a special place for us as well.
I was going to say we've been to New York too, babe.
but for our honeymoon, we went to London, so
yeah.
it's kind of, I don't know, I like that about it.
Me too. It's kind of fun because, like, you'll see a name and, like, oh, Big Ben, and I remember the day we went and saw Big Ben, and Zach being upset with the sandwich that he got from the grocery store and eating it as we looked at Big Ben, which was covered in scaffolding, so...
Right. Yeah. The sandwiches weren't quite what I thought.
No, he was very upset. So super fun memories like that.
But actually, now that I think about it, maybe it's only 2. I was going to say that I got you a couple of the games on this list. It's kind of weird how that works. I must have picked some decent games.
Yeah, look at you go. Well, okay,
like
you can't take...
Cartographers.
Yeah.
And Explorers.
Yeah, you got that one. So 3.
That's not bad.
And yeah, maybe one more here as we go into our number 1, which is Fox in the Forest / Fox in the Forest Duet. You can talk about Fox in the Forest. I'll talk about Duet because we have preferences.
I'm guessing they would never be able to figure out who likes which game better. Considering Fox in the Forest, the original, is probably my favorite trick-taking game. And one of my favorite card games.
It's a very good trick-taking game, and it's a very good card game. Yeah. I think we've got videos about Fox in the Forest if you want to hear us debate like the whole thing on that game. But yeah, I do really like it too, and it is one that I like playing with Zach. There are just things that hold me back, and that's why I say I prefer Fox in the Forest Duet, because I don't play co-op games, but I love this game with Zach co-op because obviously we're playing a lot of games where we're pitted against each other. And this game, it's not like typical co-ops where I feel like I sit on the sideline and I don't really have input because I just don't know what to do. But it's like, it's nice kind of to recenter because it's like, it's us working together to win the game. And that's really nice. It's a nice change of pace.
It's kind of like The Crew in a way where, yeah, it's a game where you can't really, like, have a, what do they call it? Like a dominant player that just kind of tells everyone else what to do, just because when you're playing a trick-taking game, you don't have communication between each other. Right. But I think the only reason I prefer the Fox in the Forest, even though I do like playing the Fox in the Forest Duet, is that sometimes it seems like what you're doing in like cooperative trick-taking games is kind of just already set in stone, like, I should do this. Whereas you can kind of change a little bit in the normal one.
Right, yeah. I think that's fair. It's, yeah, I mean, I feel like we've played it enough times, which isn't like a lot, but we played enough times to kind of get the vibe for like knowing, and obviously being together, we kind of understand the way each other thinks, and so it kind of yeah, it's kind of like, okay, I know he's thinking this, I'm likely going to do this, and so kind of takes an air of mystery out, but it is nice because it just kind of puts us on the same goal, which is refreshing sometimes after playing so many others.
Right. And I think the first time we played it, if I remember right, we might have had it on like the easiest settings and whatnot, but I think we did win on like one of the last tricks.
We did.
Which was probably more luck than skill.
And we might have done some metagaming in that last round there, but it worked out. We liked the game.
It's fair to do that in cooperative games.
On your first time, I think so.
But
yeah. So those are our kind of top 10 games we like to play at 2-player. Some of them play more than that and are good, to have in your collection for others. Should you have people over at some point and want to play some games that you're familiar with. So.
Yeah, they're all solid. I think they're all solid games. Even I think most of them, at their higher player counts, if they have them, are, like you said, solid games there too. And relatively quick. I don't think any of these games, outside of maybe Tapestry, are overly long.
No. Explorers can be now with the expansion because there's so many tiles. But it's fun long, so.
That's true. It gives you I actually like it better that way, just because it gives you a little more time to put together a strategy. I think that's probably one of the things I had against the base game, is it didn't quite feel long enough to get to do what I wanted. But still a great game.
Yeah, it is. So we hope that you have a happy Valentine's Day and that you get out a game or two and play with somebody, maybe your significant other or maybe just a friend, and enjoy some board games.
And maybe some chocolate. Keep on nibbling.